in the new political system that we are, life has different value, right? We had two incidents in the same city. One was that Marine guy that decided he was going to be a hero and went and put in a chokehold a person who was mentally ill. The reaction from the media, mainly the right, has been like, he's a hero. He defended all these people. And there is no worry at all for the humanity of this person, of the person who wasn't alive. There is no assumption of threat. It's like he was talking and that scared me enough, so I had to defend myself. There was no physical altercation. There was no physical attack from this person. It was just words after words after words. But the media says this guy right here was a hero. Meanwhile, the person wasn't alive. This guy, we failed him as a country. And on top of that we failed him as a country, we went ahead and not cared about him ceasing to exist because somebody was afraid of his words, right? Which is funny to me because when we talk about the rhetoric from Trump and other people being dangerous, they say, oh, it's freedom of speech. But when a guy is making threats out loud and he happens to be of color, then that is enough of a threat that we can unalive him. On the other hand, you have this CEO guy who got clipped and unalived. And he is being portrayed as a guy from a middle-class family that fought his way up until he got to the top of the company, and then this rich boy went and unalived him. So the contrast of the two victims, I don't really care about the two perpetrators because at the end of the day, Luigi and this other Daniel guy, they both did something completely wrong. Something they should not have done ever. If this Daniel guy was going to defend people, there should have been an actual credible threat at the moment, not somebody yelling. But the way both of them are pictured is so different. Is the person who we failed as a country was painted as a demented, dangerous, addicted menace that was coming after them. But the other guy who's responsible for a company that is responsible for unaliving, 680,000 people, give or take, because they want profit over people, he was a hero. He's a folk hero. He was, the hero that went from lower middle class to make it all the way up to the top, and then he got unalived by this unhinged kid. So the narrative is so contrary and is mainly from the right. And it's interesting because what they do is that they take this high moral ground, they hijack it, and they claim to have it when they have nothing to back it up. They have no moral authority. They just take it and make it theirs and criticize everybody and simply ignore the problem as a whole. And then just like what happened with that woman at Congress saying that my culture was a culture of grape and stuff like that, it was simply accepted. It's the same way with an African American who was mentally ill on a subway train gets unalived because he's perceived as a threat before he does something, I might tell you. And it's okay. He's a dangerous animal. Just like Hispanics are dangerous animals, according to them. But the other guy, he was a successful guy. So he was an inspiration to us all. And we've been robbed of this guy. So just wanted to leave that out there. And that is, to me, that is the scary part of everything, is how easily dehumanizing our society has become. I remember a time when for you to defend somebody, there had to be an actual credible threat. Me yelling at a subway train is not a credible threat by any length of the imagination. If I see somebody with a weapon, yelling and aiming the weapon, that's a whole different story. The only weapon this guy had was a jacket, and he threw it aside, and he just threw it off. So how is that a threat? And how this punk Marine who decides to be the hero of the movie, because all these people, especially people on the right, they just keep watching movies. They think that that's how life is. They think that's how combat is. They think that's how unaliving a person is. And they're waiting every single day to be the hero of their own story. And when they don't find it, because that's not how life works, they just make it up. And this kind of situations happen. But the victim is irrelevant to them. It's basically trash. On the other hand, the guy who, yeah, he climbed up the ladder, the corporate ladder. I work in the corporate world too. It's, maybe because I work in the corporate world, I know that the fact that you went to the top doesn't mean you're the best and doesn't mean you're a good person. In fact, to me, it means that you crossed a lot of people to get there. And when your company has policies and enacts policies that allow people to pass, to be unalived, creates so much suffering, and you are aware of that, because there is no way on earth that this guy was a CEO and didn't know the pain, suffering, and unaliving that his company was causing. There's no way on earth he didn't know that. When you know that and you simply say to yourself, business is business, and you move on, that's a monster. The guy that was unalive because he was yelling in a subway train, that's not a monster. He might be a threat, but he's not a monster. He's a guy with mental problems like any of us could have. But what does the media say? Nah. The Daniel guy, the Marine guy, he's a hero. He's a true hero because he saved us all. And they forget the part in which the color of the skin of this victim has a lot to play in the perception that the media and society gets and gives and portrays of him. He's tall, he's dark, and he's loud. Therefore, he's a menace, he's a threat. He needs to be contained. The other guy is white, regular looking guy. He's not loud, he's quiet, he's out of the public eye, but is creating more damage than the person in the subway train would ever create, or even come close to create. But he's a good guy. And if we disagree, then we have no empathy at all. We're so evil. We have no heart because we're the left. And that's the kind of thing that drives me crazy. So I'm Alex, this is my rant, and I'm out.